The first COVID vaccines are given in San Diego, a major step in fighting the pandemic. But as we make progress against the virus, a sobering reminder that we're not out of the woods yet. Plus, researchers at UC San Diego look at the phenomenon of COVID long haulers, people who remain sick months after getting the virus. And a popular breakfast chain in San Diego is losing money, but still giving away thousands of free meals. In our season of hope, the owner of Breakfast Republic explains how he's able to make good on his promise.
ABC 10 News at 6 starts now.
Good news is the first San Diegans have now gotten their first doses of the COVID-19 vaccine. Those immunizations are happening from Rady Children's Hospital to the Naval Medical Center in Balboa Park. It is a major step forward in saving lives and making the pandemic a thing of the past. But as our ABC 10 News reporter Mimi Alcala shows us, this is just the first step, and we can't let our guard down just yet.
Across San Diego County, hospitals are receiving these boxes full of Pfizer's highly anticipated COVID-19 vaccine.
Really a sense of hope and hallelujah and joy that the vaccine is finally here and we're finally able to do something to help start to win this battle.
About 2,000 doses of the vaccine arrived at Rady Children's Hospital Tuesday morning. Ron DeLeese, the pharmacy manager, was in charge of properly storing the doses. Hours later, about 100 doctors, nurses, and respiratory therapists, as well as other staff members who come in contact with COVID-19 patients, received their first injections. It was also a big day at Naval Medical Center San Diego. Frontline medical workers and first responders were first to get their shots Tuesday. The vaccine is not mandatory at this point. Those who get it will continue to wear masks, and 28 days later, they'll be getting a second dose. UCSD also got its first shipment of nearly 3,000 doses and expects to vaccinate high-risk workers Wednesday. While this is a great step forward in the fight against COVID-19, and Governor Gavin Newsom announced California is expecting a second shipment of the vaccine soon, he also warned people are still being hospitalized with the coronavirus and more deaths are being reported.
We have orders in 60 53-foot refrigerated storage units are currently standing by now in counties and at hospitals. We just had to order 5,000 additional body bags they just purchased for the state, and we just distribute them down to San Diego, Los Angeles, and counties.
People are encouraged to continue staying home when possible and following all the COVID-19 health guidelines. Mimi Alcala, ABC 10 News.
Palomar health officials say they will be picking up initial doses from the county today, and vaccines could be given to staff as early as tomorrow. Tri-City Medical Center expects its first shipment of the vaccine sometime this week, and Scripps is planning to start vaccinations for Tier 1 workers this Thursday. Coming up tonight at 7, we're going to hear directly from some of the first nurses to get the vaccine. And a new poll now suggests at least 85% of Americans will get the COVID vaccine when it's available. But there are still many, primarily people of color, who are skeptical. Now there's an urgent effort to overcome misinformation and mistrust in the Black and Latino communities. That mistrust stems from past experiences, such as the Tuskegee experiments, in which syphilis was given to Black men and then left untreated. Today, local activist Shane Harris talked about the difficulty in easing the community's concerns.
There's a lot of fears here that have to be addressed. And then one thing about it, like I said, we're going to promote the vaccine. We're going to promote public health. We're going to keep doing that work, but we're also going to equally chime in on government, and we're going to hold people accountable. There's got to be more done. And it's a collaborative approach, like I said.
As part of the effort to persuade skeptics, the first 2 Americans to get the vaccine, they were Black healthcare workers. Tonight, the county's 14-day rolling average for positive tests is holding at just over 8%. Now, included in that average are more than 1,800 new cases that were reported today. To date, more than 111,000 San Diegans have contracted the virus. The number of deaths reported today is a staggering 32 people. That count, though, does include the weekend numbers. The virus has killed close to 1,200 San Diegans. A growing number of young San Diegans are still having symptoms several weeks or even months after getting COVID-19. Now, UC San Diego is starting to track these so-called long haulers. A local mother told our ABC 10 News reporter Jennifer Kastner that she still struggles today after testing positive last March.
Some health experts are now saying that the long-haul patient population may become a public health crisis of its own. When Jenica Harris in San Marcos got the coronavirus in March, she expected to bounce right back, but weeks turned into months.
And I'm 33, healthy, young, worked out while I was pregnant, lifted weights, high intensity workouts. And here I am, and I have this, slew of doctors that I have to go see, and trying to figure out why my heart is so high, my heart rate is so high, and I can't move from the couch, and I can't breathe. 2 months after, 3 months after, 4 months after.
9 months later, this mother still battles severe shortness of breath. She's considered a long hauler, one of the growing number of post-COVID patients who suffer long after testing positive.
I was so angry for so long because I would see people outside partying when I could barely walk 2 feet to my window.
We already have several dozen patients, and we're starting to get in outside referrals.
Dr. Lucy Horton is working with a team of specialists at UC San Diego to treat local long haulers. Many are in their 20s, 30s, and 40s with no underlying conditions. They, like Harris, were never sick enough to be hospitalized when they first got the virus. Dr. Horton tells ABC 10 News the cause of ongoing symptoms remains unclear. It could be an autoimmune or overactive inflammatory response, and there's no one treatment. She says many of her patients have been ill for months.
What's really challenging as a physician in this situation is that we honestly don't know. And so when patients ask me, am I going to be sick for the rest of my life? I don't know if they're going to be sick for the rest of their life.
She, like Harris, encouraged young people to continue taking virus safety measures seriously.
The decisions that you make sure that you can live with those decisions.
According to a British study, researchers now estimate that about 10% of COVID-19 patients develop prolonged symptoms. Jennifer Kastner, ABC 10 News.
San Diego Unified has begun COVID-19 testing for students and staff in 10 elementary schools. The testing is voluntary. Now, the district also did not say which campuses are involved, but says that schools were chosen based on higher local case rates of community infections. The Board of Education authorized a $5 million investment in the testing plan back in November. It includes a testing agreement with UCSD Health. Right now, the board is considering whether to ratify that agreement. Teachers and parents in the San Diego Unified School District are unhappy about a plan to welcome students back to campus after the new year. Right now, the district wants to bring students back for 1 day a week of in-person learning. Many parents instead are pushing for in-person learning all 5 days of the week. One parent says she saw a major difference when one of her children went from virtual to in-person learning.
He just went from being sort of despondent and frustrated at home, and his spirits lifted and he stood taller. He was excited to put his backpack on and actually step on campus.
The California's Teachers Association is pushing for 0 in-person days while San Diego remains in the purple tier. And you can follow the latest coronavirus developments with the free ABC 10 News app. You can find it in the App Store. Border Patrol says its agents arrested nearly 24 people who they say crossed the border illegally in the East County. Agents said they spotted 3 SUVs driving on an off-road scenic route near Jacumba early Sunday morning. That road starts in an open space at the U.S.-Mexico border. The SUVs drove off when agents approached, but one got stuck and the driver then just ran off. But 17 people were found inside one SUV. 2 others were found hiding nearby. The driver got away and nearly 50 people in the other 2 SUVs got out and ran back across the border. A local college professor has returned to San Diego after serving as one of the state's electors in Sacramento yesterday. ABC 10 News spoke with Southwestern College's Peter Boland just after Election Day in November about his role. California's 55 electors were the ones to officially cement President-elect Joe Biden's win in the Electoral College. Today, Boland said that honor led to an eruption in the state capitol.
Then my phone started blowing up. People were texting me, I just saw you on this network, on that network. I guess a lot of folks were carrying it live on television or damn near live because our 55 votes put Biden-Harris over the top, over 270, and kind of locked it in. So that's where the drama came from. And then when Kamala Harris's name was read a couple minutes later, it was even louder and it was even bigger, and it was surprisingly moving. and I'll never forget it.
Professor Boland said that from beginning to end, submitting his vote as an elector took about 90 minutes. He's now quarantining after the trip and awaiting a COVID test.